Okay, picture this. You're out on the open ocean. The wind is howling, water's spraying everywhere, and you are moving at an incredible speed on this tiny little boat that feels like it's about to, I don't know, just take off. This is not some casual day on the water. No, this is the world of elite sailing, and we're about to drop right into the middle of a high-intensity practice session to see how it all really works.
He on the other reach? I mean, what does that even mean? It sounds frantic, right? Almost like a secret code. And, in a way, it is. It's the language of speed and precision, spoken between a coach and his athletes. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to decode that language and really dig into the incredible physics and teamwork it takes to master a sport this intense.
All right, let's dive in. What we're watching here are two sailors, Julia and Eva, in their high-performance I-420 dinghy. And at this level, sailing isn't just about catching the wind. It's a game of, millimeters and microseconds. It's this constant dance of tiny adjustments and nonstop communication, all to turn the wind into pure, raw speed.
So first things first, where does the power come from? Well, just like any racing machine, the number one goal is to create as much forward force as you possibly can. But in this case, the engine isn't made of steel and pistons. It's made of cloth. And the fuel? Well, the fuel is the wind itself. So the main engine, especially when you're sailing downwind, is this massive balloon-like sail they call the Kite, or a Spinnaker. When you see this thing inflate, you know the boat is about to just take off. It's basically the turbocharger, designed to grab a massive amount of air and just launch the boat forward.
And this comment from the coach is really fascinating. Blinking the kite sounds kind of weird, right? But it's actually a sign of incredible skill. It means that Eva, the crew, is constantly making these tiny adjustments to the sail, letting its front edge just barely flutter or blink. That's her signal that she's keeping it perfectly trimmed, right on the razor's edge of the wind, to squeeze out every single ounce of power. So this isn't a passive thing, no way. It's an active fight every single second for every last bit of energy.
And the goal here is pretty simple. In theory, keep the kite as flat and as taut as possible. See, when the sail is tight, the wind flows smoothly over it, and all that power gets efficiently transferred into making the boat go forward. But when it gets loose or curved, you create turbulence, and that's just wasted energy. Wasted energy means lost speed. Think of it like a drum skin. If it's perfectly stretched, you get a powerful sound. If it's loose, you just get a thud. Same idea here. Okay, so you've got this massive engine, right? The kite is pulling you along like crazy, but sailing is it's unpredictable. You get a huge gust of wind, a sudden shift in direction. So what happens when that main engine suddenly becomes a problem, or you just can't use it to get where you need to go?
Well, this is exactly where elite training comes in. They actually practice this exact scenario. It's a drill called a two-sail reach. What they do is intentionally let the kite fly way out forward and lose all its power. This forces them to regain control of the boat using only their other two sails. It's all about being prepared for the absolute worst-case scenario, so that if it happens in a race, they can recover in seconds and get right back in the fight.
So you've got all this power from the sails, but honestly, it's totally useless, and actually pretty dangerous, without the second key element, perfect balance. And in a boat this small and this light, that balance doesn't come from some heavy keel under the boat. Nope. It comes from the athletes themselves. So what actually happens when the boat loses its balance? I mean, yeah, the obvious danger is capsizing, flipping over completely. But in a race, the consequences of even a tiny imbalance are much more immediate. What's the real cost of letting the boat lean over, even just a little bit? The coach just lays it out perfectly clear. A boat that's heeling, or leaning over, is a slow boat. And why is that? Because the side of the boat digs into the water, creating a ton of drag and wasting all that precious power they've worked so hard to generate. The golden rule is simple. A flat boat is a fast boat. Period. Every single degree of heel is a lost opportunity for more speed. So how do they keep it flat? Just look at Eva here. She is literally a living, breathing counterweight. She's not just hanging on for dear life, she is actively managing the load. When she feels a gust of wind, what the coach calls pressure, she shifts her weight out, leaning way back, to perfectly counteract the force that's trying to tip the boat over. It's this incredibly athletic, dynamic process of constant anticipation and reaction. Okay, so we've got power and we've got balance. The third piece of this puzzle is steering. And this isn't what you might think. It's not about just yanking a tiller back and forth. Just like everything else at this level, it's an art of subtlety, precision, and a whole lot of strategy. The key word here is deliberate. Julia, who's at the helm, is making these tiny, almost invisible, intentional movements. See, every single time that rudder moves, it creates a little bit of drag. It's basically like tapping the brakes, ever so slightly. So the best helms are the quietest ones, guiding the boat with the absolute minimum input to maintain maximum speed.
Steering is also about strategy, big time. The coach talks about shifting between modes, like a low mode for more speed or a high mode for better position. Sometimes, the fastest way to the finish line actually isn't a straight line. They might choose a low mode, which is a slightly more indirect path but allows for much higher speeds. Or they might go for a high mode, a more direct but slower path to get a tactical advantage on another boat. These are constant, split-second calculations being made the entire race.
Okay, so we've got these three huge pieces, right? Power management, dynamic balance, and strategic steering. But how on earth do you manage all of them at the same time, at high speed, in the middle of the ocean? Well, none of these things exist in a vacuum. The magic happens when they are all perfectly synchronized, when two athletes become one single, cohesive unit. This is the art of teamwork.
And the coach just nails it right here. He points out that Julia is being very deliberate with the rudder, while at the exact same time, Eva is being very deliberate with the body weight. You've got two completely distinct jobs. One person is steering with their hands, the other is balancing with their entire body. But both require the exact same level of insane focus and precision.
And here it is. This is the secret sauce. In sync, intentionally, together. When Julia decides to shift into a new mode, that's not a solo decision. It's a maneuver they execute as a team. That decision instantly changes all the forces on the boat, and Eva has to anticipate that and react perfectly to maintain balance and keep them flying. It's not just happening by accident, it's intentional. They're doing it together.
This is really the heart of it all. It's like they're having this high-speed conversation, but without words. It's all physical. A subtle turn of the rudder from Julia has to be met with an immediate shift in weight from Eva. A little change in the sail trim from Eva has to be supported by a small steering adjustment from Julia. They're in this constant state of responsive, perfectly synchronized motion.
And right here, this is what it looks like when everything just clicks into place. The coach spots a perfect moment. Eva's smooth action with her body and the sails results in the kite immediately filling up with power. It's a perfect chain reaction. The balance enables the power, and all of it flows from seamless, intuitive teamwork. You know, ultimately, what we're watching on this boat is a masterclass for any successful partnership. It really makes you think, doesn't it? In any high-performing team, whether it's in business or sports or just in life, you've got these same roles. So think about your own teams for a second. Who is steering and setting the direction? And, just as importantly, who is providing that critical balance and power to make sure you get there, fast and flat?